Yo, what's going on everybody? It's Merc here, and today I'm going to be bringing you all my NPL Season 6 Week 6 match. This is going to be against Blake, or Moxie Infernape, coach of the Baltimore Braviaries. And I know this is late, and I apologize for that. I had a lot of difficulty with my Camtasia. It basically shit the bed, and I was really busy and didn't have time to fix the issue until now, so sorry, people. But anyways, this was a pretty cool match against a cool guy. Make sure you go check out Blake. Yeah, he's cool and stuff and things. Yeah, I already talked about transfers that I made last week, I think, probably, but if I didn't, I traded Roserade for Greninja, which is Torrent, but still, and I traded Doublade for Klefki. So I traded Doublade to the team that had it. So his team's different now, actually, because I'm doing this late. However, Blake's team was, so just imagine that there's no Mega Gallade, Bisharp, Mimikyu, or Donphan. So what you're actually looking at, not what you're seeing, is Keldeo, Victini, Slowking, Mega Pinsir, Salamence, Doublade, Serena, Ditto, Electivire, Hippowdon, Aerodactyl, and Alolan Persian. Not in that order, but you know, those mons. So that's what we had to deal with. I didn't have to prep for a Mega Gallade, a Bisharp, Mimikyu, or Donphan. So with that out of the way, his team was, I had a really good matchup. He didn't have any way to soak up Toxic Spikes. He did not have a good Ghost Resist on his team, so just based on those two things, I had a light bulb pop in my head, and it's like, I can bring T-Spikes and I can bring Hex Gengar, and he really doesn't have a lot for it. He didn't have much of anything aside from Aerodactyl and Alolan Persian that sped Gengar, so it had a very, very nice matchup. And just a fair bit of my team had a really good matchup. Mega Latios in particular had a fantastic matchup this game, and it had the ability to 6-0 and some other stuff and just like walls and things, and I'll show you guys the team real quick. So 6 I got Gengar, Greninja, Mega Latios, Crocodile, Jirachi, and Togekiss. So this 6 is pretty good against his team. All 6 of my mons have a pretty nice matchup. So first of all, we've got Greninja and Gengar. I'm going to go over Greninja first because it's imperative to how Gengar functions. So I've got Expert Belt, Torrent, T-Spikes, Dark Pulse, Hydro Pump, Ice Beam with 88 in defense, 252 special attack, and enough speed to outrun an Alolan Persian. So Greninja is there to get up T-Spikes and also put some offensive pressure on his team. He has very few switch-ins to it, including Keldeo. That's about it. Nothing else really wants to switch in. I'm like getting over sickness right now, so if you'll excuse me on that. But this Greninja heavily pressures his team, and I can set up T-Spikes against a fair bit of mons because I can force a lot of his team out, since his team does not resist the combination of Dark Pulse, Hydro Pump, and Ice Beam aside from his Keldeo. But Keldeo doesn't have recovery, and my team pressures Keldeo very, very nicely. So other things about this, it outruns a lot of his team. One consideration could have been to run like Water Shuriken over Hydro Pump, because his way to kill this thing for the most part is going to be able to revenge kill it with mons like Arrow that are faster, or with Scarfers like Scarf Victini or something like that. So that could have been a decent bring, but Hydro Pump's still nice because it guarantees an OHKO on most Hippowdon sets, and I could have had a little trouble with Hippowdon if I did not have a solid way to do a ton of damage to it. So that's Greninja, and the main benefactor of those Toxic Spikes is Enemy, my Gengar. Oh yeah, this is Greg, the Greninja. If you get the reference, then you're cool. Enemy, Gengar. I watched a movie called Enemy, and it's about like split personality, kind of, sort of, and Gengar is like split personality Clefable, so it's like, hey, that's kind of cool, and it was a good movie. Make sure to go watch it. Black Sludge, Curse Body with Hex, Icy Wind, Sludge Wave, and Substitute. 8 in HP, 12 defense. Those are just leftovers. Max special attack and enough speed for Keldeo. Oh yeah, I failed to mention that Greninja has the EVs to take I believe a +2 quick attack from Mega Pinsir, which is pretty cool. The 88 in defense helps there. This thing is very, very strong against his team. His only one that outspeeds is Aerodactyl, which I fully expect to come. I fully expect to have Pursuit, so if he does bring it, I'm going to play as if it has Pursuit and it can kill me. So that means that Gengar's going to be there to try and get damage off, and if I'm not behind a sub, I'm not going to kill something because I do not want to get Pursuit trapped, because that's not cool. But as you can see, this thing just dominates his team. With T-Spikes up, Hex does so much damage. I believe it just 2KOs everything on his team. It just straight up does. Icy Wind is there to keep the Ments in check. If I'm behind a sub, I can 1v1 the Aerodactyl by Icy Winding it and then hitting it with another, I guess 2 Icy Winds, and stuff like that. And this thing is also a great way to spin block because his only way to rapid spin is Serena, and Gengar completely hardwalls it unless he has payback, which I don't even know if he knows that Serena learns payback. So this thing, ideally, if I get T-Spike up, Serena comes in, I predict it right, and I spin block it, I get a free sub up, and then things are taking a lot of damage from a boosted Hex. So this is a really it's a nice set, puts a ton of pressure on his team, and it's cool and stuff. So yeah, this is Gengar. Next up, we got Lizard Wizard, Megalodios. You know, the Calm Mind set, don't have to do a lot of explaining here. If you just look at his team and look at Megalodios and the Calm Mind set, you'll see how much work it does. And spoilers, it's a lot. So yeah, that's that. Crook, cool set. Choppleberry with Intim. Stone Edge knockoff, Stealth Arc EQ. Max attack, max max physical defense with the adamant nature. I didn't really need speed on this thing because yeah, I just didn't. That's how it worked out. Like, I could have sped crept the Serena, but I really didn't think it was necessary since Crocodile can't really hurt Serena too badly, and I don't want to leave it in anyways, and I do have a lot of things that hardwall it, so that's neat. Max attack, max defense, Choppleberry lets me take a lot of hits, lets me take a hit from the Pinsir, it lets me take a hit from the Salamence and the Doublade and other stuff. This thing does hit his team pretty hard. If I have T-Spikes up, I should be able to 1v1 the Hippowdon because EQ plus poison damage should be to a KO depending on his spread. It's a possibility. Stone Edge is there to hit like the Pinsir and the Ments, and Knockoff is there to knock stuff off because Stab Knockoff's nice. It's pretty self-explanatory as well. Gets up the rocks and that kind of thing. Next, we got Arachi. Arachi is here to check a bunch of stuff on his team. We got lefties, Serene Grace with Wish Protect, Psychic, Icy Wind. So a little bit of the tech there with Icy Wind at the end. Max HP, 200 defense, 32 Spadef, 24 in speed. The speed is there so that I can outrun, I believe, like max speed Keldeo or max speed Alolan Persian after I Icy Wind it, so that's neat. A lot of physical defense so that I can take like 2 Scarfed EQs from a Salamence. I can take a +1 thing from a Salamence as well. I can take some hits from Aerodactyl. I can take an Earthquake, but there's no way I can live a +2 EQ from Mega Pinsir. It's just too strong. And that sort of thing, and then a little in Spadef so that I can take a couple hits better, maybe take a Hydro Pump or a Scald or something from a Keldeo a little nicer, and that kind of thing. So this is just a good support set. Wish passing around, Crook really likes it. Passing into Gengar or Greninja allows me to make offensive switch-ins, which is nice. And yeah, it's just cool. And lastly, we've got Togekiss. I was looking pretty weak to Salamence, so I needed some way to patch that up a little bit. So we got a cool set here. Chartyberry, for 2 purposes. One, if he has Choice Scarf Ments, I do think he'll have Stone Edge on it, because the other way to hit my Togekiss would be Iron Tail, and Stone Edge is the same base power and it's more accurate, so why wouldn't you run it? I don't know. Also, if he decides to bring a Defogging Aerodactyl, this is the mon that he can most easily defog against. And if, fun fact, if he has Defog Aerodactyl, he cannot be Unnerve, which means that I can use my Chartyberry instead of having it ignored. And I do actually take a Life Orb Stone Edge from full even without the Chartyberry, so even if he is Unnerve, I can take one. And my set, Roost, Encore, Air Slash, T-Wave, max HP, a lot of defense, and then some Spadef. The Spadef's there to take 2 Life Orb Fire Blast from a Special Ments, because I realized, oh, if he brings Special Ments, then I'm kind of screwed. So little Spadef goes a long way. T-Wave is nice, so one of the main things is it can lure in the Aerodactyl, so if I T-Wave it, then Gengar can Hex it, and it's no longer Pursuit Trap, so if I can manage to lure in his Arrow and T-Wave it, then that would be fantastic, because then my Gengar goes absolutely wild on his team. Encore Air Slash, I waffled over the coverage for this one, but I decided that Encore and Air Slash was going to be good enough, because I can Air Slash things down, and if he tries to set up with mons like Slowking or Doublade, or even Mence, if I paralyze it, then I can just Encore it and then go into something that can threaten it out, so that's cool. Togekiss is just nice because it can click Air Slash and he doesn't have a lot of good bird resist. So that okay, so here we are with the game. He ended up bringing Serena, Victini, Keldeo, Hippo, Aerodactyl, and Slowking, more or less what I expected. I really didn't think that he'd bring like the Keldeo or the Serena, because Serena can't Rapid Spin against my Gengar, though it can just if he does get the prediction right, he can just U-turn into Aerodactyl and then Pursuit Trap me, and that would be kind of bad. So we'll have to play that depending on the situation. I know that it's going to be a little bit of a 50-50, but Mega Latios looks great because he didn't bring any of his Dragon Resists and nothing that can especially threaten it. Like, his best way to hit it's looking like Aerodactyl with Stone Edge or Crunch, so that's pretty wild. Togekiss probably isn't going to be that useful, because I'm assuming he's going to have Rapid Spin on the Serena, so that probably means he's going to have Unnerve Aerodactyl, so my Charty is not going to be very useful. I could have just ran Leftovers, but Togekiss still looks pretty threatening against his team because of how much it can Air Slash, and if I can lure in the Arrow and T-Wave it, then it's as good as dead, because I could try and Paraflinch it, or I can just be able to Hex it later with my Gengar, and that's groovy. So let's get into the match. I'm going to lead off with my Latios because he has nothing that can kill it. He just does not. Nothing can knock it out. So we are just going to lead off with that. He's going to lead off with his Serena, and this is fine because I can scout for damage right now. And I'm going to go for the, oh my god, that's so slow. I'm going to go for the Dragon Pulse as he's going to U-turn on out. That damage shows that he is full on Spadef, so that's cool. He's going to go into his Slowking here, and I'm going to go into my Togekiss because I did not want him freely Calm Minding up, because Calm Mind, Colbur Berry, Slowking is really threatening to my team, so I want to nix that as much as possible. And this puts me in a really nice spot because he decides to switch into Serena on the double, assuming I'd go into Crook, maybe? Or Greninja, because he's Spadef, so he can just absolutely chew a hit. I'm assuming he's going to be like... I'm assuming that he's like Yachi Berry or something, so he can, or even, nah, Kebia wouldn't make sense for Gengar, but like Yachi for Greninja would make a whole lot of sense. Anyways, this is a nice matchup, so I'm going to throw out a T-Wave, really hoping they'll go into something like Victini or Aerodactyl, but he is going to make the defensive switch into his Slowking, which is fine. T-Waving this is nice because if it is a Calm Mind set, I can better 1v1 it with my Latios. I'm going to go for Air Slash and just scout for the damage. It does 20, showing that he's more of a especially defensive one, and I'm just going to be a man. After seeing that damage, I'm just going to go hard into Greninja because I don't think he's going to have the move to hit me super effectively, and if he had it, I didn't think he was going to go for it right there. So just making the offensive play, because now I can get my T-Spike, because I really want to get this T-Spike up because he cannot effectively get rid of it as long as I have Gengar around. So I'm going to get the T-Spike up as he goes into his Keldeo. I'm going to make the obvious play into Latios as he does predict that and goes for the Icy Wind and does a shit ton to me. That shows that he is modest specs, which is interesting because I have a Terrakion which speed ties with it, so he opted to just not speed tie at all, which, you know, is respectable. I know that's a thing, and he's going to continue to play aggressively and pull a double out into Slowking, as I obviously do not want to lose my Latios because there are mons on his team that I can roost up against, i.e. the Serena, the Hippowdon, the Slowking. If it's not Scarf Victini, then that potentially. If it's like Choice Band locked into Psychic move or Fighting move or something, I don't know. And I can even roost on the Keldeo if he's locked not into Icy Wind. So that's that. No huge harm at this point, and I go into my Jirachi because it can take an Icy Wind. So I'm just going to fire off a Wish here because Wish is always the play for everything ever if you have Wish. And Serena coming in, and I'm just going to go right into my Gengar. If he U-turned here, that would have been bad for me, but I just had that gut feeling that he was going to try and rapid spin, since he really does not want his Keldeo and his Victini getting poisoned and his Hippowdon. Him being poisoned is not that good for him, because he needs to hit me offensively, and he needs to hit me hard a lot because of how bulky my team is. So poisoning his team is nice, and I get the prediction right, so now I get a free sub up with my Gengar because he can't touch me, and he's just going to hard switch out into his Hippowdon. So this means now that I have a sub up, I'm just going to fire off a Hex. The only way that I'm going to kill this thing or stay in to kill it is if I crit him right now and knock him out, but that's not going to happen, as it does a ton. It's an easy 2-hit KO, and because he has that arrow in the back, and because I know for a fact that it's going to have Pursuit, I'm not going to leave in my Gengar right here, because he could have just gone into arrow after that, and then we'd have the 50-50 of, oh, is it going to do the Pursuity thing, or is it going to go for the rock move and both kill me? I'd have to predict the Pursuit and then click Icy Wind, basically, in that scenario. So I'm going to make the ballsy play in the Latios, because I see this as an opportunity to heal up my thing, and that's nice. So I'm going to, just do that as he goes for the EQ, which is a safe play, and I'm just going to roost up right here, and he's going to go for his Stealth Rock. So I could have roosted up to full, which might have been my better play, but I didn't want him healing up for some reason. I didn't play this game the most optimally at times. I was sicker at the time, because this happened like 5 days ago now, or no, yeah, about 5 days ago, yeah. Slowking comes in, Dragon Pulse shows that he's Spadef, but definitely not Assault Vest. He's looking like he's very, very Spadef, as I'm going to call mine. He throws out a Scald and he burns me, so it's whatever. It's only doing 6% this gen, so I don't mind it as much. I'm going to roost up, and he is going to reveal that he is also Calm Mind, so this is kind of scary. However, I should win this war, because I am faster. He can get parried on potential turns where he needs to heal up, and Shadow Ball does have the ability to Spadef drop, and also his hardest move to hit me with is Psyshock, and that does about half. Also, there's the fact that Shadow Ball can get crits, and I'm going to get it on the Slowking. So sorry about that, Blake. I don't know in the long run how much it mattered, because I don't believe a Slowking could 1v1 me, but that was a thing. Anyways, he goes into Victini, and I'm going to make kind of a misplay. Him bringing in Victini just screams that it's Choice Scarf. Like, there's no other reason for him to do that. So what I should have done here was just to roost up. However, I'm just going to fire off the Shadow Ball, and I'm going to be able to kill his Hippo guy. So had I roosted up, I would have had my thing at full and then killed the Hippo. So another non-optimal play by me, and now he gets to go into his Aerodactyl here. Now I predict the Pursuit, and I'm going to go right for the Roost, because I really want to have my Latios around, and I needed to win some 50-50s. But I'm not, like, he goes for the Aqua Tail, which is neither here nor there. Apparently after the game, he much rather wanted the words, he really wanted to just get the 2-hit KO on the Crocodile, which I guess makes sense, so that he can potentially clean a little better with his Victini, but that means that my Latios is still alive, which is cool. So I'm going to roost up here, and now I'm not fearing that he has Pursuit, or he's going to Pursuit now, so I'm just going to go hard into Crook. I did see that he was Life Orb, so that makes it. This is a huge threat to my team. However, I can deal with it, because I don't think that he's going to be 3 attacks Roost, because he needs a lot of coverage to hit my team, because I have such diversity on it, which is nice. So if he doesn't have Roost, that's fantastic, because I can wear it down. And I know that Aqua Tail can 2-hit KO me from here. However, I decided that Stealth Rocks are going to be a lot more important for the long run, because he does have the Victini, and I really want to rack up damage on it and make it so that it's taking as much chip damage as possible every time it comes in. Oops. I did good. Good job, me. So I totally lost my train of thought there. Yeah, okay, so he Aqua Tails me, it does a lot, and I'm just going to get my Stealth Rocks. If I Stone Edge and knock the thing out, then that would have been great. However, I wouldn't have an opportunity to get my Stealth Rocks up, and Victini would have been a pain in the late game. So I'm not going to sack my Crocodile, however, because it is very useful still, because if I can potentially... No, I can't pass a Wish into it unless I get some really baller plays, or I make some really baller plays, but I love the fact that I have Intimidate, and I want to keep that Intimidate fodder. And also, at -1, his Aerodactyl cannot 2-hit KO my Jirachi, so I'm pretty free to go into it now, and I'm just going to click Wish, because that's what you do. And this is why Stealth Rocks is very nice, because I can stall this Victini. It comes in, takes 25, it takes 12, I can click Protect, see what he's going to lock himself into. He's going to go for the final gambit, he's going to take another 12%. Because he's an offensive Victini, I don't expect him to be like max HP, so a final gambit's going to be doing nothing really to a max HP Jirachi. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw up another Wish, because I can pass it into something or something of the sort, and if he did decide to just final gambit me, then I could heal it off. And Psychic is 100% OHKO on this thing from that range of health, so I'm going to just take out the Serena. I know he's going to go into Keldeo, and this was kind of a questionable series of plays. Basically, he's going to go for Hydro Pump. I knew I could take it, and I'm going to go for the Icy Wind because I outspeed him after this. And basically what my plan was is after the Icy Wind damage, Poison, I can go for the Protect, and that Poison damage will put him in range of a Psychic. Probably what the better play was to Wish stall him, or just PP stall him out of Hydro Pumps, because it shows that he's actually really bulky and he takes the Psychic, so that sucks. We're gonna have a double down as he dies to Poison, but I lose my Jirachi, which is really annoying because I probably could have 6-0'd. So that was very silly of me. Anyways, this was an interesting set of plays, so I'm going to go into Greninja here, because if he goes into Victini, he has to, the only way he can knock out my Gren is if he goes for the Bolt Strike, because I do not believe that a Choice Scarf U-turn will knock out my Greninja from where I was because of my defense investment. And if he goes for the Bolt Strike, then I'm able to bring in either my Crook or my Latios, and then I get a kill. And then he can't win with 1 Mon, so that was cool. But he does go into his Aerodactyl. I probably should have just gone into Crook either way, but I don't know. Having Crook in the back to intimidate the Arrow is very, very important, because Crook can actually, or Arrow can kill everything on my team right now if it's not unboosted. However, because he has that Life Orb, I can Life Orb stall him and force him to go for enough hits to the point he can switch out and come back into rocks. So I'm going to go ahead and sack my Crook. He is going to go for the Stone Edge, and I'm going to eat that, and he is forced to go for another hit because if he doesn't attack me, he dies, or something dies. And after that Life Orb, he is in range of rocks. So this is pretty much it. I'm going to go into Gren. I can take the hit. If he crit me there, that would have been annoying, and I would have lost differential, but I would not have lost the game. I'm going to knock him out with Dark Pulse, and all he can do now is lock himself into 1 move. I could have been a man and went like hard into Togekiss or Gengar to take it, but I wasn't feeling like it. He's going to lock himself in U-turn, and now I just go into Gengar and get the final kill of the match. He goes for U-turn, it does 10, and I'm just going to Hex him and knock him out. So that's going to be the game. We get a 3-0. Still not playing my best. 2 games in a row where I won, but did not make the most optimal plays all the time. So I'm going to try and get back to my normal self of stunting on these boys. But in the meantime, we managed to pick up 2 nice victories in a row. And hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave a like, leave a comment, talk about what you thought in the match. And once again, sorry this is late, and hope you liked it. Yeah, sure, whatever. I don't understand how outros work. Bye.